welcome back, everyone. Now, we have something really special. Thanks to the brilliant suggestion of Lieutenant Diane Goldstein and the conveniences of pre-recording our shows this weekend, we were able to bring you Gretchen Bergman from Moms United. So she is here with us today. And I'm going to give you a little background on Gretchen. Gretchen is the founder and executive director of A New Path. A New Path is a nonprofit advocacy organization of parents, concerned citizens, individuals in recovery, healthcare professionals, and community leaders working together to educate the public, the media, and our decision makers about the true nature of the disease of addiction, and to expand access to treatment services. So it's lovely that Gretchen is able to make it here with us for our Mother's Day weekend special. I think it is just the perfect time for her to come on and represent Moms United, since this is our day. So we're going to get right to Gretchen now. Let's bring her on the phone.
Gretchen, are you there?
Yes. Hi.
Hi, Gretchen. Welcome and happy Mother's Day to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And to you as well.
Thank you so much. Now, you have a long track record in drug law reform, yet Moms United is a fairly new organization. So
it is. It is new.
Yeah.
We started as a statewide collaborative effort, trying to connect some groups of mothers across the state in 2010. And we had a series of rallies starting in San Diego and moving up to LA, Santa Barbara, and ending in Sacramento with a rally. And at that point, we realized there's some real power in connecting here, and this is not the end of a campaign. It's really the beginning of a broader campaign. So in 2011, we created we connected with other groups across the country and created a steering committee and an agenda of items or events that we could take advantage of and to bring more focus to the need to end the war on drugs. And
that's wonderful. Now, who are some of the groups that you've made connections with?
Well, some of the people on the steering committee, Joyce Strickland has a group called Mothers Against Teen Violence in Texas, and she had lost her son to drug war violence. He was killed and started this group. And then there's a woman in New York who has St. Anne's Corner of Harm Reduction, and then a woman in, that's Joyce Rivera. And in Chicago, we have Kathy Kane-Willis, who works with Roosevelt University and drug policy. Julia Negron in Los Angeles, who heads up our path, A New Path, started a chapter a couple of years ago in Los Angeles. So we're really expanding. It's been kind of amazing, and now it's an organization not just of a collaborative organizations, but we've got some women who have wanted to start their own Moms United sort of chapters, and we've got a Texas Moms United and a Michigan Moms United, and they're just taking the energy and what's happening here and creating small units, gathering more people together. So it's moving.
That's wonderful. Gretchen, there are a lot of moms out there who are saying, this isn't my issue. My kids aren't on drugs, and I don't use marijuana or any other drug. What would you say to the moms out there who are taking this position?
Well, it's sad because I don't think they're aware of how much drug use there is in our society. Particularly now in your own medicine cabinets, kids are getting a hold of prescription meds and abusing them, and oftentimes, unfortunately, dying from them. But the truth is, if you poll high school kids, and this is sort of self-reporting, more than 50% of them will say that they've tried an illicit drug. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to really have a problem with the drugs, but if they're prone to addictive illness like my sons were, they won't be able to walk away from it. And so even if they think that it's not happening in their own families, it probably is. The stats are 1 in 4 families is dealing directly with addictive illness, and that doesn't take into consideration the people who may not have addictive illness, but who could have problems with drug abuse and accidental overdose partying, maybe for the first time. So it's a real danger, and it's unfortunately it's kind of the overdose is a real epidemic. So I guess my answer to those mothers is, I God bless you. I hope you never have to deal with this, but the chances of you dealing with it are pretty strong. And once you have kids who do get involved with drugs, your chances of being involved in the criminal justice system are very high, and that adds a whole other component of pain and destruction to the individual and their families and really communities.
Yes,
So,
I agree with you. And I think even if you think that it's your neighbor's issue and not yours, you need to take a different look or
right.
a more in-depth look at the situation because, okay, say it is your neighbor's child who's gotten arrested for drug possession of any kind. Let's take into consideration and keep in mind that they are releasing murderers, rapists, child molesters to make room for your neighbor's child who's out smoking marijuana. It could be something as harmless as that. So it does then become your issue because your streets are not as safe as they could be. The police are out chasing your neighbor's child instead of clearing the streets of harmful predators that could indeed harm your child.
And you're making the very good point about public safety. It's always been this sort of, us bleeding hearts moms versus the people who say, but yes, what about the public safety? And you very clearly stated it really is a public safety issue, and our, really addressing this, the issue in the way that we are with compassion, with health-oriented solutions protects the public safety. And our prisons are just, spilling over, and we're making room for nonviolent drug offenders. 750,000 people are arrested each year for simple marijuana possession, just for simple marijuana possession. So, we're kind of making room in our prisons for these people and letting the others out. And certainly that affects our communities.
Yes, and in my mind makes no sense whatsoever.
It goes against, I think, what was originally happening when we set up prisons that was to protect people from murderers and rapists and people who would do harm to others. And now it's become more of a judgmental, punitive issue about, we don't want people using drugs, therefore you will be punished if you do, and locked away. And it's really spun into this other kind of format, which is really so destructive to our whole society.
Yes, I agree with you. It was packaged very attractively initially.
Yeah.
But I do believe that when you open the box and you look inside, it's not a gift that you would want to receive.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. Now, Gretchen, tell us a little bit, what motivated you to get involved in the drug law reform movement initially? I think we're all initiated into this in some form. Even if it's not a personal experience, we may get a hold of a piece of information that, we take and process and think for whatever reasons, whether it be environmentally, socially, civically, that doing away with drug prohibition would be the best thing. So
right.
What brought you to that realization?
Well, for me, it was very personal. I have my two sons have addictive illness, and my older son was arrested when he was 20, around 1990, for marijuana possession. The problem was he was just really seeping into a real addiction problem, and so putting him behind bars did nothing but make the situation worse. And so he cycled for almost 11 years in and out of prison for nonviolent drug offenses. his core issue of his addiction was never addressed, but he sure got a terrible education in how to survive behind bars, housed with murderers and the violence, the gang violence, the discrimination that's spread there behind bars. He actually learned to shoot heroin behind bars. So, we're taking kids who have basically a health problem, right? It's a health disorder, and putting them behind bars where they're getting an education that no mother would ever want their child to have. So I realized it was wrong, and we started. There was two other parents, a man and a woman who I had met in a Al-Anon group, who I said, we really need to do something about this. Well, I want to have the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, like the fact that my kid's addictive illness. I felt that I needed to have the courage to change things that had to be changed, and I felt that we knew firsthand. So we started a new path at that time. And then I became state chair of Proposition 36 in California, which mandates treatment instead of incarceration for nonviolent drug offenders, because I knew firsthand how destructive that was. And